Have you ever looked at your to-do list and feel like you're failing? Like no matter what you do, you just simply can't catch up? If that sounds familiar, this video is definitely for you. Hi, I'm Becky, and I help busy moms just like yourself start homesteading without being overwhelmed and losing your minds, because we don't want anyone over here feeling like a failure. If this is your vibe, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my other content. And without further ado, let's get into it. Here is reality. Here's the truth. Homesteading and motherhood don't have a finish line. It is a never-ending journey. There will always be laundry that needs to be done. There will always be dishes that can be put into the dishwasher. There will always be a coop that needs to be cleaned. It is a never-ending chore list, and sometimes it can feel overwhelming, and it feels like you can't catch up and that you're failing because you can't catch up. Every single time you check off that last box on your to-do list, something else will be added. The thing is, this is our journey. This is our path. There is nothing saying where we should be on our journey. We make it ourselves. You are not a piece to be moved around on a board. And in fact, it's time that you stop playing their game. Social media often paints a picture of perfect, clean farmhouses and happy homesteads doing never-ending chores and getting everything done. It's always just picturesque, right? Like there's no issues. Everything is just done and pretty and perfect. But that's not real life. Remember that social media is like a giant magic trick. They're only showing you what they want you to see. You don't see the kid screaming and crying or arguing with their parents. You don't see the parents arguing themselves about the garbage not being taken out or the pig pen not being mucked out over the weekend. And that's something to remember when you look at these still pictures of these homesteading families all grouped together and smiling, or these couples out doing chores together, is you're not seeing the whole picture. You're only seeing the picture they want you to perceive. We need to start acknowledging the invisible load that we carry. Parenting, working, homesteading chores, being the glue that holds the family together and making sure that everything gets done. And then not even to mention the emotions that try to run the entire show certain times of the month. And we're expected to keep it all together all the time. It's okay if you take a day off or if you need some downtime. We aren't lazy. We just carry more than anybody ever sees. And the first step is reframing our mindset. It's progress over perfection. It's done better than perfect. It's having one thing accomplished versus having 10 things half-assed. Even if you're building something slowly, you're still building. You're not behind. You're right on schedule because you are not following anyone else's timeline. You are on your own. It's about shifting from guilt to grace. And you don't have to do it all. Learn to delegate. I feel like as women, we always feel like, well, I can just do it. I'm completely guilty of that. I have 3 kids and they take turns emptying the dishwasher for me. We've lived in this house for like 5 years. And yes, I have rearranged the kitchen a few times, but everyone puts things in different places. Like my whisk that goes on my KitchenAid, sometimes it's in this drawer, that cupboard, or this cupboard. And I am always struggling to find things. And like, I should just do it myself. Like, why do I even bother? But it's really not that big of a deal because in the long run, them helping me and doing it together is more important than me taking 2 extra minutes to find my KitchenAid whisk. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. And simply just asking for help. Sometimes, I personally have issues asking for help. I have this independence mentality where it's like, no, I can do it by myself. I don't need help. And then the next thing you know, I'm down in the lower pasture putting fencing up and the neighbors turn the sprinkler on. And then I come inside crying because I'm getting soaking wet trying to fix the fence because it has to be done. So I stayed out and did it anyways, getting soaked. And then my husband's like, why didn't you ask for help? Because I didn't need help. I can do it by myself. And he went down and he finished it for me. Like he didn't even know I was down there doing it. And sometimes we have to get out of our own head, and it's okay if you share the load. You don't have to do it all. Delegate some tasks out. Let the kids help you. Let your husband help you. Let your family help you. And Ask for help when you truly need it. Don't wait until you're to the point of being overwhelmed. Ask beforehand. And sometimes that'll take a little bit of time because you have to learn about yourself a little bit. You are you, right? You do the things that you do, and you don't always step back and think about why you do the things you do. I'll give you an example. For me, when I'm starting to get super overwhelmed, every tiny little thing will start pissing me off. Okay, that's not true. Not every tiny little thing. It's the inconvenient things, like I am completely ready to go down and build fence. I'm completely ready to be in 100-degree weather and put this hot wire fence up and spend hours down there nailing all of the little fixtures to the posts and getting everything done. I am completely fine with moving the goats and moving the food and the hay and building the structure, but it was the sprinkler that set me off. One tiny little inconvenience that shouldn't even have mattered. And actually, like I said, it was hot outside, so I should have been happy that the neighbors turned on his sprinklers and that his sprinklers happened to be watering my lower pasture. Like normally I would be happy about that. Like, thanks, man. Like, my pasture needs to be watered, but no, it pissed me off because it was inconvenient for me. And that, it just seems crazy now that I think about it. Stepping back and think, this was over the weekend, so this was days ago. Something like that should not have made me mad. And it definitely should not have made me cry. So even though I was prepared to do all of these things, and that one minor inconvenience set me back, that was when I knew that it was like, okay, I was getting overwhelmed and I didn't see it. And that was when I should have noticed ahead of time that I was getting stressed out. And so now I have to think back, like, okay, what were my triggers? What are some things that could have alerted me that I was getting stressed out before I started that project? And those are things that you need to look at in yourself. And it's kind of hard to do because you don't really think about it. I mean, when you're looking at your kids, you're like, they're going to have a mental breakdown in 3, 2, 1. And then they start crying. Like, we see that, right? But we don't see that in ourselves. So it takes a lot of learning and unlearning things, honestly, before you realize. And I challenge you to work on that and to think on that, and tell me in the comments, like, what are your triggers? What are your cues that you're like, I'm going to have a mental freak out. Like, I got to step back. I got to ask for help. I got to do something, or I'm going to yell, or I'm going to cry, or something's going to happen, right? So remember, you don't have to do it all. It's okay to ask for help. Your family is willing to help you. You're probably just being too stubborn to ask. And then something else that helps me not get super overwhelmed is picking and choosing what actually needs to get done on my list. What's more important? What has to be done now? What can wait until tomorrow or even next week? Like, it doesn't all have to be done today. And you shouldn't realistically think that it should be done all in one day. There's power in deciding what's important on your list and what's just background noise. Guilt is sneaky, but there are tools to combat it. Start by taking inventory of all of your wins. And I'm saying all of your wins. It doesn't matter how small. You spent time with your children. Fabulous. You got to read 5 pages of a book. Great. You cleaned the chicken coop. Awesome. You did the dishes. Heck yeah, girl, get it. Like, every tiny little thing that you accomplish is important because all those little tasks add up. Now, think about, you say, like, it's the dishes, it's no big deal. Okay, what if you didn't do them? It'd be a big deal then, huh? It's important to celebrate every little win because it builds momentum and it keeps a positive attitude. And overall, it'll help you accomplish more. And I know this video is helping you not be overwhelmed and to get rid of the guilt, but deciding like what has to be done and what can wait, like, it gives you more time for you. Let's do it that way. So you're picking and choosing these tasks. This needs to be done. This needs to be done. This I can do tomorrow. This is next week's project. Like, that's next week's you problem, right? And then you are congratulating yourself for doing the dishes and you're doing a good job and you have this momentum, like, yeah, I'm being successful. Like, I want to do something. Like, go for a walk, take your kids to the park, read a book, do something for you. Then you still have the energy for you time. And that is just as important as your kids' time, as your husband's time, and as your animals and chore time. You need to have you time too, so you don't lose your mind. Something else that I really like, and I personally do myself, and if this is not something that you do, I encourage you to try it. It seems really odd at first, but doing affirmations and saying them out loud. I am a good mother. I am doing a good job. I am a great homesteader. I am a great wife. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm safe. Like saying all these I am affirmations and saying them out loud, because you need to hear your own voice say it. We are reversing negative self-talk by doing this. We are reducing our anxiety and our stress, and we are becoming more motivated and more self-confident. And we are talking positively about ourselves, because I can guarantee you probably talk some mad shit in your head about yourself. We're done with that. I want you to start talking to yourself like you would talk to your best friend, because if your best friend heard how you talk about yourself in your head, she would slap you. There is no way that she would let you talk like that. And there is no way you would say some of those things to your best friend. You would never say some of those things to your children that you say about yourself. So don't. And you know what? Thoughts are going to come. It's not just going to happen overnight. Let them be and say something else instead. So when you have one of those negative self-talks, so when you have a negative thought about yourself, like, I'm failing, I'm not doing a good job, stop. Like, I feel like I'm failing, but I know I really am doing a good job. I'm just kind of stressed out today. Okay, move on. The end. And every time you think something negatively about yourself, I want you to combat it with something positive. Okay. And you're not going to be able to do it every single day, all the time. And if you're really down in the dumps or you got a major thing of depression, like, this is not going to be like an overnight fix. Like, don't think this is going to be an overnight fix. And if you need help, once again, make sure you're reaching out and get the help that you need. But I really strongly believe in affirmations, and they really have helped me in the long run, because I still talk some mad shit in my head, and I still try my best to combat them with something positive, and trying to learn what stresses me out, what overwhelms me, how I can negate those feelings. If I need to do some yoga, do some gentle stretching, if I just need to go outside and take a few breathers. We have all these stresses in our life. And, when you're growing up, they tell you to expect to go to work and have a family and do all these things, but they don't teach you about how to deal with the stress that comes along with all of the responsibilities. And I think it's time that we start. Like, we should be taking care of our mental health just as much as our physical health. Make sure you're setting realistic goals. Like I said, with social media and everyone's Pinterest perfect, like farmhouses, and everyone's homesteading families. And I'll tell you right here and right now that my kids do not love doing gardening chores with me. They don't. Like, I ask them to come out, and they do. They come out and help, but they're just like, okay, well, if we do it all together, it will take less time, and we get to spend a little bit of time as a family. And by the time that we're like out there and doing stuff, they're fine. Like, at first, no, they don't want to. And mind you, I have a 13 and two 16-year-olds. So my kids are like off. They're ready to go do their own thing. They're not interested in the same things I'm interested in. And that is completely okay. But my point of that is, like, you see all these homesteading families, and it's like, we're all doing these things together. And while, yes, some families are like that, like mine is not. Like, yes, they will come help me, but it is not their favorite thing to do in the world. And making sure you're setting realistic goals for yourself is important, because you don't want to set yourself up for failure, and there's only so much in your control. So you can't say like, oh, my whole family, we're going to get into homesteading, and I'm going to have my whole pantry is going to be full of my homemade goods. And well, yes, that's a great idea. And in the long run, you can definitely accomplish it, but make sure you set it realistically, time frame wise. Your timeline needs to be stretched out. Like, you cannot expect to do all those things on top of your duties as a mother, and if you work, and to not get overwhelmed. Making sure that you and your family have a happy, loving home is always going to be the most important thing. And what makes that up is going to be different for each family. Like I said, each homesteading journey will be different. Every family is different too. Not everything will be the same. So remember, just because you see these homesteading families or these picture perfect coops and farmhouses and mini Highland cows, and it's not always going to be the same. And don't compare yourself to them. And if you have a hard time comparing yourself, if you're playing the comparison game and you are losing, shut it off. And if you can't shut off social media, mute the accounts for a little bit. Start looking up other things. Look at funny cat videos. I don't care, but playing the comparison game will never do you any favor. There's always a healthy amount of competition out there, but when it comes to you and your family, that's not as important in my opinion. Being happy and healthy is more important. So next time you are feeling down on yourself and feel like you can't do it all, remember that no one can, and it's okay. Now, if this video encouraged you and you liked it, please hit that like button. It really helps out my channel and helps me know what kind of content that you guys like. And also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my other content. And you won't miss my mini course that I'll be launching soon, which is a complete mind shift for beginner homesteaders. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for joining me.